Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be cooking with one of my guilty pleasure ingredients. Want to know what that is, right? It's Spam. This is probably not a surprise to some of you who know that I'm from Hawaii. Hawaii is one of the largest consumers of the Spam product. And then I've also cooked with it in the past. You can check out the other videos I have on my YouTube channel. While I call it my guilty pleasure because I don't eat it too often, I'm gonna make this a little healthier dish by adding kale. Kale is one of the really popular ingredients right now in California. This is, in particular, is a Dino kale. Got it from my local market. So I'm gonna add it to this dish. I'm gonna make a simple fried rice with Spam and kale. So it's gonna be a combination of guilty and healthy for a really interesting dish. So let's start by prepping the ingredients. So I'm going to start with our star ingredients, the Spam. I like that they now do this small 7-ounce can, which is good. It's actually the right amount for me that I'm going to use for this dish. So you just plop it out. Now what I like to do is I actually like to make nice little cubes of the chunky meat, because you know, it's nice getting that sort of flavor after when I'm searing it. So I'm just cutting it into cubes, almost like 1-inch cubes. Pretty simple. Now of course when you make this dish, if you don't like Spam, you can pretty much substitute any kind of your favorite ham or bacon. Now for my kale, again, this is a Dino kale. There's some kale that's a little on the curly side. You can use that if you like that texture. I kind of like it a little more on the flat side, so either the Dino kale or the Lucinata kale. Those are good to buy from the market. And I just simply cut it against the dice in this way. And what I'm doing is just basically making little strips. And this will just be perfect to throw in my fried rice. I want mostly just the leafy part. Once I get to the stem, I'm actually not going to use the stem. You can keep that later if you want to sort of make soup out of it. But for the fried rice, it might be just too much fiber and too tough to sort of eat. So one thing about making fried rice is that, you know, you're cooking with leftover rice that you've been saving. It's always great to use leftover rice that's been in the refrigerator. So in the theme of using leftovers, you can always throw in whatever you want in your fried rice. And I actually had these 2 carrot sticks that I haven't used, so I'm going to actually add those. So all I'm doing is dicing it really small. By dicing it small, it cooks it faster. So that's the whole idea, and I try to keep it all about the same size so it cooks all at about the same time. I have a few ingredients. You always want to use a really hot pan. I'm warming up my wok on very high heat. It's the Chinese way of getting that wok hei, is what they call, or the wok breath. It's really difficult to do it on my electric stove, but you have to do the best you can. I start off by searing the Spam meat, but I added some little bit of oil, just plain vegetable oil, to just sort of help make sure nothing really sticks. So warm that up. So then I add my Spam that I cut up into cubes. And all I want to do is just sort of sear all the sides. I feel that that's the best way to eat Spam, is when you sort of almost char it a little bit, just to kind of bring out the flavor of it more. You know, so as my Spam is cooking, I've turned it around a bit. I'm going to throw in half a cup of carrots. The carrots takes a little longer to cook, so that's why I throw that in, so to get the cooking process going. And I'll probably cook it for about a minute, and then we're going to add our kale. And so here's my kale that has been rinsed and I poured out all the water. I'm just going to throw that in. A bit of water is going to create a sizzle, so that's expected. Once the kale goes in, everything's going to move pretty fast. I'm going to add a pinch of salt just to season the kale. And then I'm just going to stir it about to help it start wilting down. Some of the moisture will start cooking out from the kale. Now the thing about fried rice is you don't necessarily want to cook with a lot of liquid because that will make your rice all soupy and soft. So if you have a lot of moisture in your kale or any vegetable you're cooking with, you want to, on high heat, just keep cooking it until it evaporates and it gets to the point where the wok seems a little dry again, and then it's the right environment for you to toss in your rice. So here I have about 2 cups of fried rice that I've been saving over the last few nights. I'm just going to toss that in. Sometimes it helps if you actually break it in before. I should have done that. If not, just get your spatula and start breaking it up into pieces because you know you don't want clumpy rice. So lesson learned, break up your rice before just dumping it in. But if not, you know, just break it up. And now basically the rice is cooked, right? Because these are, you know, leftover rice. But what we want is to warm it up, but also kind of like give it a little bit more color by frying it in the high heat. And then I just kind of mix it up. But what we also want to do is season our rice. I'm going to add about 1 to 2 teaspoons ground white pepper. The fresh ginger, I have about, this looks like about, excuse me, a tablespoon. Just that pepper was stronger than I thought it was. Mix that in. Again, the ginger is optional. I love ginger. It makes it feel like a real true Chinese dish. But if you don't like it, you can skip that. And then that's pretty much all your ingredients. We do that with some sesame oil. The sesame oil also helps to break up your rice so that it's not sticking to each other. About a tablespoon. I like it mostly for the aroma. And then of course, soy sauce. Soy sauce is just like salt. You put enough for your taste. I usually know about a whole swirl, which is about a tablespoon, is about how much I like. But you should definitely taste it after you put in a little bit of soy sauce. And just like salt, if it's not enough, you just add some more. Okay, so here's the final dish. The Spam Kale fried rice. We're going to take a taste. Of course, I'm going to get a big piece of Spam and some kale for the healthy part. Nice searing on the Spam, which I love. And you wouldn't think it would go together. The saltiness of the Spam plays off of the sort of blandness of the vegetables, the kale. But the kale gives it that healthy aspect. Makes this guilty pleasure something worth trying. Enjoy!